Donald Trump passed a stimulus through executive order. And we talked about earlier, the executive order doesn't actually provide the economic relief that Americans desperately need in the middle of this pandemic. But one of the people who doesn't seem to know much about Donald Trump's own executive order is his own chief economic advisor, Larry Kudlow. Let's take a look.
For $100 add on, we will put on $300.
What makes you think that states have that $100 a week per person who is unemployed in their state to even put into this potential pot of money?
Well, I think they'll be able to make room. Our estimates from the Treasury Department in terms of the CARES Act 1 was that the states have not spent all the money that was allocated to them. Based on our estimates, the states will be able to provide the extra $100, and that will gross up the whole benefit to something on average of about $800.
Have you checked with the states? How many of the 50 states and DC and other territories say that they are going to be able to pony up $100 a week per unemployed citizen?
Yeah, good question. We'll probably find that out, today and tomorrow as we make our canvas. We've been in touch with them. We have very good records coming out of the Treasury Department, but we will be in touch with them.
So you don't know. So you don't know yet. The president didn't know the answer to that before he made his announcement.
Well, look, at the moment, we know the money.
The CARES Act provided no money to the states, none. Just wanted to make that clarification since Larry Kudlow made it seem as though that stimulus bill provided relief to the states. It did not. And Larry Kudlow not only lied, he obviously has no idea what's going on with this executive order. Cenk, we have one more video, but I want to hear your thoughts before we go to it.
Yeah, so Donald Trump did something while completely unprepared without doing any homework. No, say it ain't so, Larry. Of course, Donald Trump has no idea which states can afford it and can't, and he doesn't care. Like we talked about earlier in the show, he's either just gonna give it to the red states, and that's why he says, well, look, some states will give 100% to. If you're good boys and your governors kiss my ass, and some states we won't, and I didn't bother checking on which ones can afford it or not. And as Anna pointed out, he might just give it to the swing states to try to win re-election. I mean, he's just so crass and obvious.
Yeah, he is. And by the way, one other thing I wanted to note about the executive order, as I mentioned earlier, the payroll tax cut is not actually a tax cut. He is deferring payroll taxes until the beginning of next year. So if you're an employee who notices a payroll tax cut, just know that you're going to be expected to pay for that later down the line. But he said in his executive order that he might forgive those taxes if he gets reelected. So it's definitely a political move, 100%, and it doesn't actually offer the financial relief that ordinary Americans desperately need right now. With that said, though, I do want to go to one more clip featuring Larry Kudlow just stumbling and bumbling because he has no idea what the hell is going on.
I want to remind you of something that you said about this kind of move just this past week. Listen.
We got to fix and extend the unemployment issue right now. I don't think that can be done administratively. I think that requires an act of Congress.
So the whole question of whether there's the money for this to work is one, but what even you yourself said is whether it's even legal. Do you think it is?
Well, I'm not the lawyer, and I probably spoke out of turn there because I worked all week with our counsel's office, and they proved to me that we could use the Stafford Emergency Act and that we could repurpose funds to do that. So I probably shouldn't have said that. The president decided to take action on his own. Of course, I think he was right to do so.
I love when journalists do journalism. It's so fun to watch. That was incredible. That was incredible. That's what you do. You bring back the SOT where Larry Kudlow says something completely counter to what the administration is currently doing. They're just completely full of it. But the fact of the matter is, it's unlikely that Democrats are gonna take Trump to court over this executive order. The question is, will Congress get its act together and actually pass a robust new stimulus bill? And honestly, I lose hope every day for obvious reasons.
Yeah, so look, first you got the classic, I'm so sorry for being right earlier. Of course, Donald Trump is now correct in whatever he made up yesterday. I've been working with lawyers all week. Reminds me of that. Leads. Yeah, exactly, from the Big Lebowski. Yeah, leads. They got us working around the clock on it. So yeah, let me summarize for you guys. Donald Trump checked with 0 lawyers. He just ran out on his own. All right, number 2, I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that Donald Trump is saying at best you will get $400 in this semi-illegal move if I decide to give it to your state and your state has money. And remember though, that's not the $600 that people were getting before. And the people he's negotiating with in that regard is the Democrats wanted to be higher. Mitch McConnell wants it to be 0. So he's also negotiating with the Republicans. So the one good thing here is he undercut Mitch McConnell, who's like, unemployed people are bums. We're giving them the wrong incentives. You're driving back to the mines, right? So when Trump goes, I don't know, let's give him $400, kind of. Well, now Mitch McConnell can't say anymore, we should give him 0. So there is one benefit from this that we should be cognizant of. But again, it's only 2/3 of what it was before. So it's not like he's increased it, he's decreased it in a best case scenario. Finally, just a note on journalism. I love to see journalists doing what I think is relatively elementary, holding these people to account with their own words, etc. But I'm thrilled to see it. But will they continue to have that standard if Biden wins and there's a Biden administration? My guess is they will head right back into the cave and hold no one in that administration accountable. If they had plenty of opportunity to hold Biden accountable during the primary, and they absolutely, positively refused to do so. So it's a nice little window into how journalism should be done that we get for a brief period of time. And then if and hopefully when Trump leaves, it'll probably disappear.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.